As a heads up, some of the content in this episode is a bit intense and a bit violent. We're talking about a genre that extols the virtues of terrorism somewhat explicitly, and it seemed like a good idea to let you know off the top. When I first heard jihadist hip-hop, it seemed disturbing but ultimately harmless. In the last month, the brutal killing of 2 American journalists is proving me wrong.
The 23-year-old London rapper Abdul Majid Abdul Bari is in fact a leading suspect in the killing of James Foley.
We first touched on Muslim hip-hop in our episode about Mexican drug anthems and government propaganda. The British government has attempted to popularize moderate Muslim hip-hop in the wake of popular songs like this. The video in question is from 2004, called Dirty Kafar by Sheikh Terror and the Soul Salah crew. While extremist Muslim hip-hop may have existed before, this was the first viral piece of jihadist rap, what they called the Dijihad. Around the office, I joked that episode was the closest I ever came to getting fired for researching this show. At one point, I was at my desk watching a music video that juxtaposed images from 9/11 with hardcore pornography. And for context, I also work somewhere where people make videos about how to create a hot tub that will float at your cottage.
I didn't expect it to work that well at all. The water was hot, the beer was cold.
So, different vibes, checking to see what Sheikh Terror has been up to over the last few years, which apparently includes this music video from 2008. But even these videos, extreme as parts of them are, do not compare to what happened 6 days after we posted that episode.
The victim was freelance journalist James Foley, who was kidnapped in 2012 while covering the war in Syria.
The brutal video of Foley's beheading brought worldwide attention to ISIS, and within a few days, the primary suspect was this man.
Fucking pay respect when you're mentioning Ginny. I'm feeling twisted from the Henny. I need to risk it for the belly. Yeah, I've grown a few years and I'm calmer.
Abdel Majed Abdel Bari found himself on every news network in America. As a rapper, he went by El Jinni. And suddenly Foley's killer didn't just have a name, he had a voice and a backstory.
It's hard to progress in the future with a damaged past. And still I try to count my blessings and I thank Allah. See, enough of these youths got no reason to be out and hustle. And still they jump on tracks and try to talk about struggle.
El Jinni was doing well enough for BBC Radio 1 airplay in 2012, but by 2013 he had left Britain for Syria and ISIS.
Just let a brother live his life in peace. Just let a brother live his life in peace. Let me sip a glass, pipping on that lammy green. Reminisce the past, wishing on the time machine.
The Foley video was uploaded to YouTube on August 19th. 2 weeks later, this video surfaced.
I'm back, Obama, and I'm back because of your arrogant foreign policy towards the Islamic State.
Stephen Sotloff was beheaded by the same suspect who appears to be El Jinni, and the resulting media coverage has shone a light into the extreme corners of Muslim hip-hop.
I'm 31 now, but the hell is gone. Gonna build a dirty bomb. Use this privilege and education. My PhD will free me. Paid off the Ruskies for weapons-grade uranium.
Fundamental's 2006 album, All Is War, The Benefits of Jihad, was called suicide bomb rap by newspapers. And according to the group's brain trust, Aki Nares, it led to a split with his record label and threats of arrest from members of the British Parliament.
Ich bin ein Dog for life und niemand kann mich halten. Ich werde eure Köpfe spalten.
Deso Dog was a popular German rapper who turned to radical Islam in 2010, becoming something of a celebrity recruiter for ISIS in Europe. His later music rejected instrumentation in favor of the a cappella sounds of traditional Muslim nasheeds, not unlike Omar Hamami.
Blow by blow, crime by crime. Only gonna add to my avenging rhymes. Invasion by invasion, attack by attack. Only gonna bring sweet honor back.
Hamami was an American who ended up on the FBI's most wanted terrorist list in 2012. He also made a habit of uploading terrible a cappella rap music.
Make jihad with me. Allahu Akbar, get some more booty. Attack America now. Martyrdom of victory.
It goes without saying that there are many, many more great Muslim rappers, both in mainstream hip-hop and the more political underground, than in this tiny fraction of a fraction. But as jihadist rap jumps from embarrassing acapellas to breaking news on CNN, it is a genre worth understanding. What do you think? Is the media blowing the connection to rap out of proportion? How do these songs make you feel? Let us know in the comments, and be sure to subscribe for new episodes of This Exists every week. Be excellent to each other. Last week's episode asked if you remembered Nintendo Core. Last week was a more innocent time. Let's see what you had to say. Daniel Gao, along with many of you, were wondering why I didn't include OC Remix, the website, in this episode. And for those of you who are fans of that, I think you know that it's so sprawling and substantial that in an attempt not to just flit over it and barely really give it the time it deserves in that episode, I feel like OC Remix probably needs its own episode in the future. Insert name here was one of several people who wondered why the Proto Men weren't in this episode. And unlike OC Remix, where I have an excuse, I actually kind of have no excuse. Proto Men maybe should have been in last week's episode. They are a fantastic band that is basically a Nintendo Core band who write awesome concept albums all about Mega Man. So they probably should have been there, at least as an honorable mention. They're great. Check out Proto Men. Since there was already a warning at the top of this episode, I feel comfortable saying that my favorite comment from last week came from Minion Metal, who in somewhat explicit detail described an early sexual experience while listening to Horse the Band. It's a good comment. It's very funny. I liked it. GL Knight was bummed out that we didn't delve more into the history of Yellow Magic Orchestra, and I'm inclined to agree. A lot of times in these videos, it's hard to give every single thing that we talk about the attention that I personally think it deserves, and I'm sure that many of you think that they deserve. So check out that comment, and definitely, if you found anything about that episode interesting, I'd encourage you to read more about and listen to not just Yellow Magic Orchestra, but all of the groups that were spawned and the solo albums that came out of that. In many ways, that group forms the base of so much of contemporary pop and hip hop. So if you ever listen to either of those genres, it's an important sort of stepping stone to understanding why music sounds like it does today. Also maybe deserving of their own episode down the future. I'm just gonna say that about everything that I don't include. But thank you, GL Knight, for addressing some of the more fascinating aspects of YMO's career. Little League Records wanted us to give some love to Chip Prog and specifically the band Chromelodian. Great band name, great genre name, yes. Pokemon Blaze 234, great name, was the first person to call me a shitheel in the comments last week, I think. I apologize if you called me a shitheel before Pokemon Blaze did, but it's very funny. Very funny to call me a shitheel. Jen Dowie had the one comment this week that I did screen grab and send to my friends, which was, "You look like a hairy Ben Affleck," which is something I've never been told before in my life. Something I didn't think was possible, because I'm pretty sure when Ben Affleck has his shirt off in Argo, he is a hirsute fellow, and 3 led my girlfriend to say, I wish. In the call for suggestions for names for the bookie segment at the end of this video, EasyED420 had my favorite suggestion, which was Sam's Club, which for whatever reason I think is genuinely hilarious. So for now, we're gonna call it Sam's Club, but I would encourage you to continue to suggest names, because I'm not sure I'm 100% committed to the founder of Walmart as the namesake for the section on books. This week's book is a little bit of a cheat, because I have not read it yet, and it is on hold at the library, and I'm waiting for it. Rebel Music by Hisham Aidi details the history of Muslim music, not just in the traditional sense, but as it connects to modern and global sounds. That obviously includes hip-hop. And Hisham Aidi has been writing a lot of articles in the wake of this book coming out for publications such as The Atlantic that have helped to connect a lot of the disparate pieces of Muslim music history, the history of radical Islam, and the ongoing propagation of extreme Muslim hip-hop and jihadist rap. So through articles he's written for places like The Atlantic, I have been able to learn a lot more about this, and I'm super excited to read this book. So if you have read it, maybe let me know if it rules, which I'm sure it does, or we can read it together and talk about how good it is, because based on all the excerpts I've read, it is super awesome, and a lot of his work informed this episode just from articles he has written in the past. So Hisham Aidi's Rebel Music. Check it.